am making this book happen. I am writing it. I am drawing it. It is happening. And that feels so much. I feel like maybe this is actually what my true success is making that progress. You know, making continuous progress. Hello and welcome back. So this is more like an update, kind of podcast type things. I will show a few things in the beginning of something I've worked on, but then I will just keep chatting and there will be nothing new on the screen. So you can just, if you want to do something, fold laundry or wash dishes or do some drawing, then you can, and you will not miss anything on the screen. So it's like a visual podcast type thing, because I felt like I have some things on my mind that I feel like I need to get out. I don't even know if I'm going to post this, so if you see this, I decided it was worth sharing in case someone might relate to it, or it might, you know, help you to think differently about things. And yeah, so it's a bit of a life reflection. And I'm thinking also not to edit this much, to keep the workload low, because it's been quite a trek uphill, I feel, at the moment of life. And despite being very blessed, of course, but obviously, you know, in my circumstances, for me right now, I feel pretty pushed to my physical limits. So I will just quickly show you what I've worked on. Currently in my book project, but I feel like sometimes there are phases where I need a bit of a break from it. And I'm going to work on this maybe today as well, but today I want to show you what I've done yesterday. That was in a break when Nick was out with the kids for lunch, you know, to go on a walk. And this is an old drawing I've made many years ago, and I'll just show you the time-lapse replay. So this is the final. This is the Bremer Stadtmusikanten. So this was a really old pencil one that I've done for Folktale Week, maybe 2017, something like that. And you can see, actually, that was so quick. I don't know if you could even see anything, but through a happy accident, I decided to actually make it monochromatic, you know, just kind of yellows. Anyways, it's warm toned, whatever that would be called. And so this is just some adjustment layers over a pencil sketch. And oh, actually something is missing. I changed something here. Anyway, I might have accidentally undone something, but this is pretty much the final, and like this would be changed. The bottom will be also like a more brownish color. But yeah, I really liked it. It's not very refined. You can still see some of the dark pencil lines, and this would probably have to be cleaned up if I want to do anything with it. I really like this. I think this would be super cute in a nursery. I mean, of course, it's maybe more for the people who have, you know, who know about the Bremer Stadtmusikanten. It's a story about these animals, and yeah. Anyways, a donkey, a dog, and a cat, and a rooster, I think. But I don't even fully remember anymore. It's so long ago. But yeah, anyways, I really like this one. And I think because it's neutral, in the sense of it doesn't have too many colors, I think it would look really cute in a kid's bedroom, aka maybe potentially our kid's bedroom. And maybe some of yours, if you're interested to potentially buy this as a print. I don't know. That was really quick, and the reason why I even have this was because I'm currently working on a studio makeover, aka I'm finally having a studio that I can put all my things in, and I've collected all the boxes. By the way, I'm not going to show you anything new now, so you can put the phone or whatever you're watching this on to the side and just listen if you feel like it. But basically, I've collected all the boxes from all sorts of different places, especially mostly my in-laws' shed, where I've had lots of boxes from university, you know, all my sketches, things that you don't need in, you know, while living in a tiny flat where we lived before, or in a house that doesn't have much space, but something that you will still hold on to. And I found these old sketches of, for example, this drawing that I just showed you. And when I looked at it, I just felt this jolt of excitement, and I just really could barely stop to think, okay, I really want to get this into a different stage. I feel like this is not finished yet, although it's obviously a finished black and white pencil illustration. But I was genuinely excited, and I think that's something I haven't felt like, for drawing for quite a while now, because you might have noticed I missed uploading a video. I was never really planning to do a video a week, although it's kind of worked out this way, which is so nice. So thank you everyone for watching, that you've followed me along. And I don't even know if I want to keep that up, but it's fun. It's nice to make videos and to share this process. And it's definitely, there are days where, man, nothing moves forward. It feels like the only thing I do make progress on is household, and that just happens. The thing is that if you have the house clean the next day, it's the next hour, sometimes it's not clean anymore. And also the ups and downs of my technical issues, audio quality. It's been just a bit frustrating, and I have to kind of work around this. While I'm talking, maybe I actually will work on something if I'm not getting too distracted. Basically, I realized when I put my book, is there a fly in here? I hear something. Anyway, I hope it's not too disturbing. I realized that when I put the sketches that I reworked in the previous picture book one, where I changed the main character from a very dark version, where you can barely see his features, to a lighter version. I put it in the final dummy, or in the PDF dummy, and suddenly the sketches looked really blurry. And I've done it in a really quite large resolution. It's like an A3, I think. Almost A3. Yeah. Not quite A3, but quite large. And at a high DPI, 300 DPI, I think. And unless I've made a big mistake, I don't know why they turned out so blurry. So this is something, again, that we're doing this all by myself. These are obviously problems I have to work through myself as well. I don't have an art director or someone that can be like, hey, maybe try that. Currently it's all on me. But the goal is that at least this year, I'm hoping, of course, October would be brilliant, but October's almost over as we're speaking. What day is it? It's the 19th of October, so I don't know if this is actually going to happen. But my goal was October. I can send this out to this commissioning editor that last year, before my maternity leave, asked for this book. For some of you, I might be repeating myself very frequently, but just keep in mind there might be new people who don't actually know about any of this, so it's good to repeat some information. Yeah, so I'm needing to kind of figure that out, and I don't know if I can do this while also chatting. And I don't know which thing I prefer to do at the moment. I feel like I need a heart-to-heart. There have been quite a few challenges. The last month, it's been dragging itself for a while. It's a lot to do with parenting. And what I feel like parenting is a lot is you parent yourself as well. I don't think the kids are essentially any of the true issue. The true issue is that the way I respond to challenging situations. And of course there are things that I am not quite sure about. Developmentally they seem all totally fine. It's I feel like everything's going well. But I did notice that every single day around between 1 and 2-ish, something like that, our oldest one starts to become really temperament, or I don't know if that's the right word, but hard for me to deal with, to manage his energies and focusing them into a positive direction. And he's 2.5 now, and I don't know if any one of you is a parent and has experienced this. Similarly, if you did, then I would be curious to hear your experience. But I realized that's probably that's what I'm thinking, that maybe is because he's tired. And it took me a long time to realize that that's why it starts to get so hard. And maybe that's also because I'm tired, but I think mostly for him it's always very similar. That's when he starts to act up, so to speak. Like today, for example, they were, not to reveal too much. I don't want to, in the future he looks at this and is like, Mama, why did you bash me in front of so many people? But it's more of an example that I hope it's helpful to other mothers. It's not to put him down in any shape or form. I think he's a normal toddler. He's behaving, probably completely normally, but I need to learn how to deal with this. So, yeah, today he just decided that it's a good idea to take all his books out and start to jump on them. And maybe for some of you are laughing, it's like, this is just normal toddler behavior. But he's not very destructive. He's actually very creative. And I mean, in some way you can say that's a very creative way of jumping on things. But it's becoming more destructive. And I think he knows that. That's what I feel like. It's maybe his way of saying, I need not just attention, because I've been spending all morning with them, apart from cleaning around, these little down times. But I think it's the time where he needs a rest. Like, he would actually need quiet time, but we've not actually really managed to establish that fully, or even actually managed to. Basically, he stopped napping when he was around 2 years old completely. And when we drove home to Nick's parents, he fell asleep in the car. So I think that's again showing that maybe he is just tired. So I'm trying to figure out how to manage my feelings around this, because I start to get really emotional. I get, I have my own tantrums, basically, it feels like. Obviously in a much toned down way, because I have over all these decades kind of learned to, deal with my emotions mostly, but it's basically brought up a lot of feelings of like, why can I, like, what do you call this? Inadequacy. I feel inadequate sometimes when it happens, when these things happen. I feel like I'm out of control. I don't know what to do. And the way I then react and speak is very interesting. I feel like the word that comes up in my mind a lot is stupid, so dumm in German. And I don't know why this word somehow is always kind of coming back to me. This is what I somehow, when I'm really stressed to the edge, I keep saying that things are stupid, in some way or shape or form. And first of all, I don't think that's very healthy behavior on my side. And I'm also trying to figure out why. Just to clarify, I think the way why I'm sharing this is, I think parenting will bring out a lot of things that are hidden in you. I'm not a psychologist. I don't know, but this is just, I reflect a lot on my own behavior. I'm trying to best the version that I can be, and I'm trying to continuously work on myself. And this is what I've noticed, that these things, I'm seeing patterns basically, and I can't understand why I keep saying these things. So yeah, basically trying to figure out, where is this coming from? I can't recall any particular point in time in my childhood where there was a time where maybe my parents would have said something like this to me, like, that I am stupid, or that I'm not, inadequate intellectually, or something like this, or, So I can't remember anything like this, and I'm not sure if this ever happened, but somehow I am feeling that kind of pressure to maybe, know everything all the time, and otherwise I'm, so to speak, stupid. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Why is it that these strange patterns suddenly come out? Why do I feel so inadequate? And why does it burden me so much? And why is it so hard to deal with these kind of, in some way, really mild, misbehavior from my little child, And I want to work on this now, because I don't want to then eventually hurt him by the things I say, which might have already happened. Who knows what I, have in my anger sometimes said. Whatever I do, I always apologize after, but still I think it's not, I don't want to justify my behavior just because I'm like, maybe in my past, who knows what happened. So I'm definitely wanting to work on this. And so this is, it basically boils down to, I wonder if it has to do somehow with my feeling of what, what means to be successful. What do I always have to be right? Do I always have to be perfect? Like, why do I have this strange kind of mindset? And that also boils down into my, creative work. I've been recently going back to the more, professional side of things, not just personal side of things. But I feel like it's very connected. Your artwork is so connected with you. And sometimes, for me at least, it's very hard to separate these two things. Especially in books, these books are very personal to me, so things do come up. I rejected an offer to work on a book for someone, a picture book. But it would have been a full picture book, and I was at first so excited because I know this person, she's really nice, and I liked the book, I liked the story. I was actually genuinely very excited. So it was around summer, beginning of summer, I don't remember exactly, but halfway through the year. And at that point, I was pretty certain that by autumn, I will be able to start working on this. And I put a lot of time into creating a quote, actually several quotes, different packages of pricing, what I'm thinking would be right. I've bought the artists, what is it, Guild to Ethical Pricing or whatever it's called, and to research on that as well. I'm still 100% confident because I've never quoted that much before, but I still feel like that would be reasonable for this amount of work. And I've actually done the flat plan already. I've done basically almost a dummy without any finals, just sketches. I've worked through the entire story already. I've already created a color scheme. I've created already character studies. So I've done a lot of work already because I was so excited about this project. But in the end, now that it comes to actually working on it, I realized I don't actually want to work on it. And one of the reasons for sure is that I'm not ready yet to give both kids into childcare. And of course there would be workarounds. I could maybe, again, like I'm doing right now, have a few hours here and there where the in-laws maybe watch the kids. But this is not I don't think it's enough to create a whole picture book at a reasonable pace. And I felt like I might be letting her down by being too slow. And also sometimes I have this strong desire to work on my own books. So if I have very little time, I have to decide, am I using it to relax? Am I using it to, regroup myself, reflect, to be a better mother when I'm actually back with my kids? Or am I using it to work on other people's projects, which obviously brings more money? And it was a difficult decision to then say at some point, despite, all the work I've already put into it, she doesn't even know how much work I've already actually done for this. To then say, I'm sorry, I am not ready yet to give my kids into childcare, even if it would only be for a certain amount of hours. I just don't, for many different reasons, I don't feel ready to let those two go. I need a break sometimes, yes, that's true, but it's not long. After an hour or two, I'm usually fine, then I'm back in action. I enjoy being with my kids. I'm enjoying being, this life that I'm living. So it was a really difficult decision, and I've been pushing it away for almost half the rest of the summer, until the point where I realized now it's time, and I can't say heck yes, I can't say it with full heart. And I feel like with a picture book, it's a long-term project. It is a lot of work. I mean, I've only done one book for someone else, and that was not a full picture book, and it was a lot of work, much, much more than I thought. And there's always things that come up they're unexpected, and yeah. Working with a self-publishing author is also very different than working with an art director. I'm sure I've not experienced it myself, but working with an experienced art director, aka a designer, a graphic designer, instead of someone who might have had that design background, there's so many things that you then have to kind of balance out or come up with if they don't have a designer, doing the actual layouts and blah blah for them. There's so many things that you have to think for yourself, which take a lot of time then to communicate. And I realized also I'm maybe not just up for this workload right now. I want to push my own projects very slowly but surely forward at my own schedule, because I think that's maybe one of the main things I want to do. But it was hard because, again, it would have been an income, and only because Nick is finally able to support us on one income, I'd say, almost. We moved to a cheaper area to be able to, continue living like the way we do. We shop at most of the time the cheapest supermarket you could think. And there's a lot of things we don't do that maybe would make life more comfortable, with a few exceptions, of course. That, yeah, we are deciding not to use money for, so that I can have this time. And I feel like I'm still healing from this time, from birth, and from the time before birth. So that is very precious, but again, it always comes with a trade-off. And I'm just want to say here as well that if this is not your reality, and you feel judged in any way, please don't, because every situation is different. You don't, even if I share with you what I'm thinking, you can never see the complete picture. You only see snapshots, and your situation is possibly very, very different, even if you can't see it, and that's what it is. And everyone works with their circumstances, and yeah, maybe some people are not as willing to make these sacrifices on their lifestyle as maybe we are, to live on one income. Or maybe people are not willing to move to a cheaper area, or live in a less expensive neighborhood or house, yeah, because of different reasons, and that's absolutely fine. I just share what we are doing right now. And yeah, I still feel like we live a very comfortable life. I mean, through saving up and through Nick had a small inheritance. He finally managed to pay off Nick's student loan, and that was also a huge weight off my shoulders ever since we've been together, knowing that he is in debt. I mean, I come from a background where debt is not seen positively. You don't want to be in debt. Like, that eats you up, basically. It drains you, it chains you in some way, and I am not a fan of that. That's why it was always my wish and dream to pay this debt off. And although it's a student loan, and technically speaking, at some point, I think when you are retirement age, who knows what that will even be by the time he will retire. The battery just flashed. I think I have to stop soon. But basically, it was our decision to be free of this debt, and we had the opportunity, and we decided to do that. And it's a huge burden off our shoulder. It wasn't as much as for many other people. It was nothing compared to what American student loans are. It's nothing compared to what even my student loan would have been if I wouldn't have been able to borrow this money from my parents, which then I will pay off. I paid part of my student. I paid part of my university fees myself, because I worked before university. But still, some part I had to borrow, because I wasn't even able to get a student loan, actually. And yeah, for Nick, he didn't study the full duration, so we didn't have, and it was also before the student fees became higher, the university fees. But still, because of the interest, it's growing and growing and growing. And despite him paying it back through his income, it's still growing and growing. It's just ridiculous. And we were like, okay, how much would we save if we pay it back now? How much could we potentially invest, and how much would it grow? The thing is, with investing, you don't always know if by the time you need that money, it will be a good year to take it out. So we just decided, in this case, we just want to be free of this debt. So that's a huge thing that happened. And yeah, I'm rambling, but yeah, anyway, success. I'm thinking about what success is for me. That's why I'm talking about this. Success for me would be to be financially free. But what does that even mean? Does this mean to not work? Actually, no. For me, I love working, actually. I love doing, what I do. I love work, actually. I feel like it's giving purpose, But what kind of success do I really want, And what kind of happiness do I want? And is financial freedom the only form of success that I want to achieve? And I don't think so. It's just one aspect. And yeah, I am reflecting if having 50, 100 books, who knows, or even just a few books under my name, would that make me feel so much better? Like, how would I feel if this book that I'm working on now, my own book, finally comes out? Would I feel so different? Or is it the process that actually makes me feel happy? Is it the achievement or the I mean, of course, I would be happy when it's finally out. I will be happy, but what is it really that actually genuinely makes me happy? And I think it's actually the drawing, the process of it, and that's what I need to remind myself of. It's not just I'm a failure until I have achieved my goal of finally getting that published. I am making this book happen. I am writing it. I am drawing it. It is happening, and that feels so much. I feel like maybe this is actually what my true success is making that progress, making continuous progress, feeling that joy of progress. So these are a few thoughts that I wanted to share with you. I hope they're even making any sense. And I wonder if this is something you've thought about. What are you working towards? What kind of life are you trying to sustain? What kind of, is my dream having a house but a huge mortgage and being then chained down to a job that I don't like? I'm not saying that this is always the case, but that's sometimes what I wonder if, my life would be very different if we would be in a huge debt and would have to pay this back right now. And I definitely want to own a house at some point, but right now is not the time. And yeah, I definitely want to have many books published sometime, and have them in the hand of many children, and hope to make some, difference, even if it's just bringing more light into the world, bringing more joy into the world. It doesn't even have to be a huge, huge change, because sometimes that is what saves someone's life, that song that someone wrote, that maybe the person thought, oh, who knows what kind of difference does it make, but maybe that song was playing when a person was deciding, do I want to live or not? That person might have heard that story that you wrote, and it actually changed their mind about the way they live their life. Sometimes it can be these small things. Stories, art, creative endeavors can be extremely deep and transformative, and we don't even know how we are healing the world with our work. And that's what I need to keep reminding myself. It's not just money, although money is very important. The financial reward, the reward of the recognition, of course, that's something that I'm still trying to reflect on. But how do I even know what impact I will have with the work I'm doing right now, even if it is a silly story? Do we know? Maybe this will be a book that in 50 years' time someone will, still cherish, because it reminds them of the time that they read it with a specific person, their grandparents, or, someone gave it to them as a gift. You don't know what impact you will have with your work. And that's a different kind of success that is really hard to measure, and that maybe we only know once we pass on, if you even believe in a life after, this life. But the spiritual impact we have on people with our work, even if maybe it's just cutesy drawings, you don't know. So these are all things that I'm reflecting on, why am I even doing this? Am I doing this just for the recognition of, yes, I have whatever medal, or award, or, that I can say now, oh, now I'm a published author, because I have this stamp of approval. Of course, it's, precious, but why am I even doing this? And I am doing it because I want to move something. I want to share light. I want to share joy. And I genuinely feel that joy and excitement when I do draw. And there are, of course, moments where I don't, but overall, that's why I keep going. And so even if I don't feel so great today, and even though it was a wonderful day, the afternoon was a bit of a low, and it's been physically very demanding, with Mila not been sleeping really great, teething, who knows what kind of leap she's going through. I don't even bother checking up anymore. What is going on? As long as, physically everything is fine. I know these things will pass eventually, but it's been tough, and I've not been motivated to do much drawing or creative work. But these are the reasons why I think I want to keep going, and I'm reflecting on why I'm doing the things I'm doing. So thank you for joining me. I think I see already high number already on this, and my phone is probably about to die. But yeah, I hope that you know or have the time to reflect why you are doing the things you're doing and for what purpose. Is it just for the material possession? And that's also all right if that's what you want. Um, like what I just feel like we need to deeply reflect sometimes. Uh, we can reflect why we're doing things, and that might bring a completely new level to our work and our life, and maybe even help us pivot if we are going in a direction we kind of just going because we think that's what other people expect us to do. Is that what the cultural expectation is, to have a house and a dog and a driveway full of cars, and or to have so many published books or so many awards to our name, or blah blah blah, all the different things you can measure success on. I've been a great student and I always wanted to be successful, but I'm trying to understand now, why was it always that I was so driven? Why was it that I always felt like I can either win or be a failure? There was never any in between. And these thoughts, where's the gray zone? Where's it's okay to be in the middle, It's okay not to have achieved everything yet, and to appreciate that too, and to share that too, because if we only ever share highlights, the world that our children will see is just that I'm either able to share my successes all the time, or I'm a failure. That's how I feel sometimes, is our culture at the moment shares only so many highlights and so many quick transformations, and doesn't show the long process that is so precious and important. Because what was the lead up to these huge breakthroughs? Often it was not necessarily a grind, but there were many, many steps. There were times of reflection, there were times of nothing. And I also want to share this out of that reason. So I don't have anything grand to share, but that's what I have to share. So thank you. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye.